Joining me now is the brilliant former senator, should still be the senator in my opinion, for Queensland, Amanda Stoker. Amanda, great to see you as always. Now, Amanda, Labor is now, Jim Allen just referred to the fact that we were kind of daddled on the controversial IR changes, which will put thousands of jobs at risk. I was intrigued by this thing, Amanda, that the Minister for Small Business in the Albanese Labor government, Julia Collins, was asked on two separate occasions to name one, just one, pluck it out of a hat, one small business that supports these IR changes. Both times, Amanda, she failed to name a single one. There are 2.4 million small businesses in Australia, and the Labor minister there could not name one. Are you surprised, Amanda?
I'm not surprised at all, Rowan. Julie Collins, bless her cotton socks, is either out of her depth wildly or hasn't done her homework, because the fact is there are no apparent small businesses that are prepared to say, I am busting to sign up to industry-wide bargaining. And worse still, Julie Collins is unable to say how many of those 2.4 million businesses would be captured by this industry-wide bargaining regime. She doesn't know how much it would cost them. She doesn't know how many workplaces would be involved in such an arrangement were it to pass the parliament. And all of this shows that what is being billed as the biggest transformation of the workplace since 1970 is in fact such a big winding back of the clock that it is unfit for the way that the modern economy works. And we can see, if this is going to pass the parliament, a turning back of the clock to the times of supply shortages, of labour shortages, of strikes, of being unable to get fuel, being unable to get goods, all of the bad old days. Labor cannot wait to bring back, as if things aren't hard enough for Australian families.
Now, Amanda, your dad, if I recollect, or your parents had a small business. I think your dad was a plumber, is that correct? Do I remember that correctly? Now, explain...
Plumber, drainer, gas fitter, yeah.
Gas fitter, exactly. A salt of the earth. Now, explain to us, because people get lost in the weeds of this, and this is what Tony Burke and others hope for, that people go, oh, it's industrial relations, it's too hard, I don't get it, yeah, whatever, Labor must know what they're doing because there was a bloke called Bob Hawke once. That's how they think. So they go, industrial relations. Can you please explain to people exactly what these changes mean to small business people, tradies, others trying to get a company up and running? What do these IR changes mean for them?
In simple terms, it means that, let's say, the business that's the painters or the plumbers or the electricians won't be able to say, this is the award, here's what I'm going to pay the guys who work for me, or this is what I think you're worth because we pay more than, because we like to give our customers more than. No, the way that they will get to decide the way that they should be paid is by an instrument to be negotiated by taking those in the market who pay the most, which are always going to be those big work sites that have deep pockets and hundreds of employees, and using that to kind of blackmail the smaller employers into paying the same rates, even though the terms and conditions on which they operate are completely different. The commercial environment might be completely different, and the flexibility to be able to cut the cloth to be able to fit their own market is the way that small business goes about getting its niche in a market where they've got to compete often with bigger players. And so it is taking away all of the flexibility that is at the heart of small businesses' availability, or their ability to give something special or something better or different to the market than what you could get from getting the biggest electrician in the market.
So it all helps the unions and it damages everyday Australians. Now, talking about blackmail, just quickly, Anthony Albanese admitted in Parliament that Australia was blackmailed, basically. He has said it was the entry fee to us doing business with, he rattled off a whole bunch of countries. He claims, his words, that the entry fee for Australia to have anything to do with the rest of the world is us spending billions of dollars just willy-nilly handing climate loss and damage, whatever you want to call it, adaptation, reparations, whatever name you want, basically billions of Australian tax dollars. He had no mandate to do this. He said that basically Australia was blackmailed because that's the entry price, otherwise everyone would ignore us. What did you make of those comments, Amanda?
Well, the first thing is to say that any leader that is prepared to allow him or herself to have terms dictated to them by these globalist bodies immediately puts themselves in a position of weakness. If an Australian leader isn't prepared to act in the interests of every Australian from all walks of life every day of the week, then they need to be willing to answer to Australians as to why they are not doing the duty they were sworn to do. I mean, the idea that the Western countries should be footing the bill for the cost of every storm, every windy day that might go through the developing world using this broad brush banner of climate change that nobody can really pin down where it starts or ends, is essentially a blank cheque from Australian taxpayers to those in other parts of the world who may not have the same values, concerns, interest in the environment, or indeed integrity about the distribution of that money. And even that's putting aside the fact that there are so many Australians who we owe a duty to first.
Absolutely. And Albanese played the race card, accused Peter Dutton of being a racist, basically, is what he was accusing him of, simply for saying putting Australians first. Well, if putting Australians first is racism, well, Peter Dutton, you've got a lot to argue back at Andrew Albanese with. Seriously, that was disgraceful. Amanda Stoker, it's always great to see you. Thanks for coming on the show, and we'll speak again soon.